What's up YouTube? It's RainingCardGames and welcome to the August Q&A video. So, as always you guys, I posted out a post recently on the community tab on my YouTube channel, seeing what questions you guys have, as well as diving into the patron pool on our Discord server, just so we can get questions from them as well. And I've selected my bunch. Now, before we go ahead and jump into Patreon questions, if you guys would be so kind as to like, comment, and subscribe, all that stuff down below, I'd really appreciate it. And we are so close to 2,000 subscribers. It is crazy. So thank you guys so much for all the support, and let's go ahead and jump into Patreon questions. What motivates me to go into competitive Yu-Gi-Oh? So, interestingly enough, I think one of the reasons why I tend to be more competitive in terms of like, I mean, obviously I would consider myself like, I play a lot of casual stuff, but also I do dip into the competitive because I do want to improve myself. Also kind of, I guess would you say a side effect of the My Locals, because My Locals is very competitive. If I were to go to locals with a, I don't know, a Vylon deck or a Volzar deck, I would lose it completely. Would not win a single game. So essentially, like, my locals is highly competitive. So in order to do well, to improve there, it kind of is naturally like, yeah, okay, I have to move more competitive. And I do enjoy it because that way I know, like, I learn how to pilot decks better. I learn how to make decks at the most optimum level. Obviously, I do enjoy casual play every now and then, and I'll have fun. Like, if I go on stream, sometimes I'll play a really bad deck or a really memey deck, but still, that ability to go and play a deck at its peak potential and knowing that, and then going to like a tournament, hopefully when those come back, I'm a competitive person by nature, so being competitive and not just Yu-Gi-Oh, but a lot of things, it just comes to me naturally. So there's that motivator also. It's just that nature inside of me. I'm not sure how that would fit in Yu-Gi-Oh. So it's tricky because I know Duel Links does something kind of similar, where you're allowed to have, you know, these cards are limited, these cards are semi-limited, these are banned, but you can only have X amount of cards that are banned. It's something similar, but I don't think that format of here, this is the card pool, you can pick one that can be unlimited, but the rest are banned. I don't know how well that would work in Yu-Gi-Oh, just because in some cases you may, like, if a deck is really good, but then like 2 critical cards are on that list. If they were both limited, then you can both include them. For example, let's say you're playing Salamangreat and you have Gazelle and you have Circle, and now you're telling me you can only pick between one or the other. I think that would be kind of, obviously I'd say you go with the 3 Gazelle, no question, but like losing Circle completely, you know, I don't think it would work as well as it sounds on paper. I feel like you need to have, I think the way it works, the limited, and like semi-limited, it kind of is I mean, the only reason it really exists, I guess, is kind of just for Destiny Hero Malicious, but besides that, yeah, no, I think the way the format is now with the ban list, I think is better than the suggested format that you added on. So we're gonna do some time traveling, and I can't do GOAT format. Nostalgia-wise, I guess I could say let's go back to the very beginning days of Yu-Gi-Oh. You know, when everything was just being released. Oh, you youngins don't know what Yu-Gi-Oh used to be like. You just do your fancy synchro link pendulum summonings, and I'm not that old. Well, I am old. I can remember the beginning of the game, but still, if I were to travel back in time, I'd probably say like 6 Samurai format, back when they were tier 1. Go back into those good old synchro days. I really do enjoy synchro summoning. So going back to the synchro era would be fun, when 6 Samurai were romping about. Being able to play that deck at full power, that'd be cool. That'd be fun. And that's going to do it for patron questions. Thank you guys so much for submitting your questions. And if you would like to become a patron or a YouTube channel member, links are down below in the description, or you hit that button right down there. Anyway, let's go ahead and hop on to YouTube questions. So if you head on out into the Yugioh wilderness, there are many different dangerous things that you can encounter. For example, if you go into 5 or too many actions, you may find that a giant rock will come out of the sky and splat you all across the floor. Or you could be happily searching through your things, but let's say you keep on searching too many things, maybe a droll and lockbird will come in and swoop you away. So you just gotta be very careful of a lot of things that will swoop in on you. But, as we all know, currently the crush card virus is out there, and that's the most dangerous thing. So just be sure, you guys, wear a mask, properly sanitize, keep 6 feet away so you can avoid that nasty, pesky trap card. Do I think this card game is hard to get into? Yes, it is definitely 100% hard for new people to get into. Not saying it's impossible, it's completely possible. However, I do find for people who are starting brand spanking new getting into the game, it is hard. A lot of people who play the game now have played it, or at least some of us have played it when the game came out and we took a break and then coming back. I feel that's different than someone who's completely getting into the game from scratch. Like they weren't a kid when the game came out back in the early 2000s. So like, it's different, and the reason why is just because of how much the game has changed. Like literally back then it was normal summon, set, like you had your normal monsters, a few effect monsters, basic spells, basic traps, effects were simple, combos weren't extremely convoluted, and gradually the game just kept on getting more and more complex. There are more rulings now that you have to explain all the different summoning mechanics, pendulum summoning, link, exceed, synchro. And then you have to also explain stuff like missing the timing, chain blocking, all these kind of rules that now you just have to memorize. It's more to memorize. So obviously, as more rules are added on, it becomes more complex for someone to understand. Not saying it's impossible, it's harder. It is harder, especially for a younger audience. Obviously, like it says it's for kids 6 and up. Explain all these rules and modern mechanics to a 6-year-old and expect them to master it within a month. It's possible, but like, come on. It's, but I feel Yu-Gi-Oh! It's hard to explain. I feel the avenues too, like also like, cool, the kid let's say a 6-year-old wants to start getting into Yu-Gi-Oh! That's great. They like the cards, they like the cool dragons on the artwork or the something, but then like, if you take them to locals, like let's say if I'm a parent and I want to, like my 6-year-old wants to go play Yu-Gi-Oh! And there's a local card shop, bring in my kid and like, I don't know, some of these guys smell like they're very voluptuous women on these game mats, and like I'm bringing my 6-year-old in there. I mean like, I would kind of be on the fence if I were a parent about that. So like, that's why, although to be fair, like Konami has stuff like Dragon Duels and stuff like that, that is great. So I don't know, Yu-Gi-Oh! Is a very interesting game to get into. I feel like a lot of people who are getting into it played it in the past, so that nostalgia thing helps bring it in. But I feel like if appealing more to a youth, because that's how, like, obviously you can bring people in that are like, you know, already an adult or a teenager, but like bringing in a youth core always helps rejuvenate. That's how you can see generational wise, you can see the game surviving. Because otherwise you're drawing on a limited card pool, pun intended, if you're only drawing from one age group, but then that age group grows older and older and they have other things, families start, so it's always important to include the next generation in a game. So that's why I feel like if Yu-Gi-Oh! Wants to make it easier and more accessible, they've really got to go in on that younger age. I think they're starting to do stuff like Yu-Gi-Oh! 7s, it's a simpler way. I don't know if it's going to catch on or not, but hopefully it'll get some kids into the game. The most expensive card I ever pulled in Yu-Gi-Oh! Off the top of my head, I think when I pulled that Elemental Hero Air Neos from the Strike of Neos pack and Sealed Only Samurai, I think that might have been one of my most expensive pulls at the time, considering it still hasn't gotten any reprints whatsoever. So I think that card, when I pulled it at the time, was 60 bucks. It may be more now. But yeah, I think that card's probably was the most expensive pull that I've ever done. I mean, I have pulled a Ulti Chaos Dragon Levianeer, but that's not nearly as pricey as the... Yeah, I'm not gonna take it from Elemental Araneos. If I had a chance to collaborate with a bigger Yugi tuber, so aka 10k or more subs, there are quite a few. Obviously, like, for me personally, like, if I could collaborate with Team APS, that would be amazing, because I'm a huge fan. Like, I love their skits, I love their duel challenges, everything. So I feel like if I was able to collab with any of them, that would be so much fun. I would, like, laughing in between filming, they're just a joy to watch. It would be really cool to collab with them. Any others? I mean, I would want to collab with all big YouTubers. It'd be pretty cool. But probably if I were to pick one, it would be Team APS, because yeah, they produce some quality and very entertaining content. I could change one thing about my channel or videos that I could go back on. You know, these kind of questions are interesting, because while I say yes, I would change this, that, or that, at the same time, it also helps, it's part of the learning curve, right? Because obviously, like, I'd say, let's take my Sealed Only Samurai series. From episode 1 to the season finale, a lot changed. A lot I learned along the way. So, like, while I say, yeah, maybe I'd change this, make it more streamlined, edit these few clips, or maybe make this video a little bit shorter, or just change the format slightly, at the same time, I'm like, you know what? I wouldn't change anything, because I see that as a timestamp. So for anyone who wants to watch my videos, they can see, like, how I improved over time, or how I learn. And it's helpful for me as well. So I don't know if I really would change anything. Maybe, I mean, yeah, obviously, but that's the other thing. Like, even stuff that I would change, like older deck lists that I would say, like, why are you doing that? You just make an updated deck list, because obviously Yu-Gi-Oh is a changing format, because every year is different. You have new cards entering the format, old cards get banned. So, like, you can always just, like, okay, this old deck list, I don't like that video anymore. I don't like it, but I don't like that deck list. It's not as optimal. Here's a new and improved list. This is better. So, like, yeah, anything that I'm not comfortable with, instead of changing, I just say I make a video similar to it, but improve upon it if it's a deck list. But yeah. If I had a wildlife, my own wildlife documentary, this would be a dream for me. So, for those of you who don't know, I am a wildlife biologist. My specific area of expertise is herpetology, which is the study of amphibians and reptiles. But I also have, like, plenty of other knowledge, like botany. I have botany under my belt, ornithology, ichthyology, like, basically the entire animal kingdom and plant kingdom. Like, I have a very broad, like, good foundation in all across ecology. So if I were to have a show of my own, it would probably be something similar to the lines of, like, the old, like, Crocodile Hunter or Steve Irwin show. Kind of like similar to, you know, honestly similar to Yu-Gi-Oh! Wilderness. Like, we travel around different zones, and then, like, obviously we have one species that we're highlighting for that episode, but we, like, see other stuff along the way. So, for example, let's take the Wild West episode, the Wild Card West. We were out I was out filming in the Sonoran Desert, and our Pyrotile, the Synchro Monster, was our highlight. And we're basing that off the Gila Monster. So instead, swap out all the cards. We're walking around the Sonoran Desert, explaining the ecology, the natural resource history, and all that kind of things in a fun and interactive way. And then towards the end, once we eventually we're out, we find a real-life Gila Monster. we can do like, you know, just a cool, like, essentially educational programming up front in the camera, and we can demonstrate some of the animal's capabilities and all this kind of stuff. And yeah, something along those lines, I would think. And that's going to do it, you guys, for the August Q&A. Thank you to everyone who submitted in your questions. And if you didn't see your question answered, there is always next month. But that is going to do it for me. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you guys in the next video.